Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us on Polywine, where we like to take a deep dive into stories pulled from various sources of media and to have a fun time while breaking it down. I'm Jillian, and let's get into it. So this past week here in the U.S., we had a scorcher of a heat wave. Started in the west, hit the south, and ended the week in the East Coast. And for it to be this brutally hot with such high temperatures so early in the summer, prepare yourself and be cautious when you go out because it's going to be a hot one all summer long. So please be prepared. Please check on neighbors, loved ones, friends that might need that extra help at this time during the heat wave. Those with medical needs, please check on them. So let's not forget people around us that might need that extra help. And it's not just happening here in the U.S., it's also happening in Europe. Greece just claimed its sixth tourist death of the summer. So that's unfortunate news there. And there's also numbers coming out of Saudi Arabia. About 1,300 have died due to the extreme heat in Hajj on the pilgrimage. So just very sad to hear these numbers. So again, please be prepared and also check on loved ones, friends, and anyone, neighbors, anyone that might need that help at this time. And it's brutal. Since it's been such extreme heat already, I mean, hot, it's given my family and I a little bit of a chance to kind of be inside a little bit, enjoy a little bit of each other's company, games, TV, movies, just enjoy some stuff. And of course, and I always love a good home project too. So that's kind of what I like to do on the side too. But it's been fun, but I have to tell you, the one thing I've really enjoyed with the family is in watching the U.S. Olympic trials. It's been fantastic. U.S. swimming, incredible. I loved every minute of it. High intensity, great, amazing athletes, men, women, fantastic. You did not disappoint. And the guy that was announcing was commentating during the swimming. Pardon me, I do not know your name, but you were great. You were fantastic. You were high energy. You were really enthusiastic. You were so good with your description of speed, technique, stroke, just the milliseconds of time that just makes all the difference of the world in swimming. You were great. I really hope you're there during Paris Olympics. You were fantastic. And not only is the sport just exciting anyway, you made it that much more enjoyable. I was telling my friend the other day about the commentator, and I said, this guy is to U.S. swimming as watching a soccer game, or football. I'm American, so I say soccer. Watching a soccer game in Spanish. It is so intense hearing this. God, such a better game to watch. And that guy was to U.S. swimming as watching soccer. So I enjoyed you. You were fantastic. Loved it. But track and field is always fun to watch, but it has been so good and so exciting. And I have to tell you, tonight on Monday night is something to watch. There is a 16-year-old kid out of Maryland. I hate to say kid, but he is still a minor, who is running the 400-meter final. And he is from Maryland. Quincy Wilson is just this track and field superstar. So he's running up against competitors twice his age. And so it should be so exciting to watch. I am thrilled. That's what I'll be doing this evening. Of course, I'll be watching some probably Bravo and some other stuff on the side. But U.S. Olympic trials, I am enjoying every moment of it. And I'm telling you, please give me an excitable, descriptive commentator. You are making it. If you can't give me Bob Costas, there's something about Bob Costas that is just comfort. There's just comfort in Bob Costas bringing me the Olympics. It's like home. And if he can't be there today, because he was good. And I love Bob Costas' knowledge. I mean, that man is like an encyclopedia of sports knowledge. And I always enjoyed his interview, but give me some excitement. I'm excited and I love the enthusiasm. So U.S. Olympic trials, thank you for bringing it. And you've got me. you got me. I'm here, and I can't wait to watch more to come. I have to tell you, I'm kind of concerned about when the actual Olympians, after they make it through the trials, what happens when they make it to Paris? Now, the swimmers that just were in the U.S. swimming team, you are very fortunate. You get to swim in chlorinated, clean water. But I am concerned about the marathon swimmers, right? I'm not sure if you know about this debate or this whole issue for the marathon swimmers in the Paris Olympics. As of now, these swimmers for the marathons, triathlons, all of that, all those types of long distance swimming events will be taking place as of now in the River Seine. So I'm not sure if you are familiar with this whole controversy that has been happening in Paris over the River Seine. Now, the River Seine is highly, highly, highly contaminated, right? And the Parisians have been wanting this to be cleaned up for many, many years, for a long time. I mean, it's just always been contaminated. And John Oliver did a piece a couple weeks ago on his show, kind of talking about this and also talking about this protest that was coming up on the River Seine. Now, the River Seine is highly contaminated, and the French government has just recently spent about 1.5 billion euros to clean the river. Now, this is coming out of the French taxpayers' pocket. And it's just, they're frustrated because they've been wanting this for a long time, and now they're doing it in a speedily fashion for the athletes, also to to make the aesthetics of Paris look cleaner and better for all the tourists that will be, coming into the city. So it's an aesthetic thing. So, but the French are really, frustrated by this because they've been wanting this for a long time because, it's their city, it's their home. Of course you want clean waterway. And now they're finally spending, it was like 1.5 billion euros in an effort to clean this up. So in total French fashion, they wanted to, of course, protest. That's what the French do. And if you've ever been in Paris or pretty much anywhere in France, but especially in Paris, if you're ever there on vacation, you probably at some point are going to witness or get caught up crossing the street in a protest. That happened to me many years ago. I was crossing the street and I just saw a wave of people coming down the street. Next thing you know, some large protest was happening. So it's all the time. But their new protest was quite humorous, actually. So their protest was the French president, Macron, and the Paris mayor pledged to swim in the River Seine in efforts to show the Parisians, the French, and, the Olympic Committee and the future athletes that are going to be swimming in it, that the water is safe. Well, they announced they were going to swim, the French president and the French, or the Parisian mayor, they announced that they were going to swim in the river on June 23rd, right? So in French style, the Parisians wanted to protest this. So they decided they were going to poop in the River Seine. And in the last week, they literally lined up toilets all along the side of the river in efforts to poop in the River Seine. Now, I don't know how this worked out, if it actually happened, if people secretly did it. I don't think that it got the attention that it was supposed to. At least I haven't read it. But it's really fascinating. But the thing is that the French president and the Paris mayor still have not swam in the water yet. They keep pushing that date back, pushing that date back. And that doesn't really seem fair if they're still hesitant to swim in it. But yet you are willing to let these top-tiered athletes from all over the world swim in your contaminated water. Now, I don't really know if you remember back to the Olympics several years ago in Brazil. There was also a contaminated water issue. And a lot of these athletes got sick and were unable to compete. And that is just awful. It is. You've trained your entire life to get to this moment. You are the peak performance, the best that you're ever going to be. And then you get there and you get sick because of unsafe and unsanitary conditions. That is just awful. And this is what's happening. So I think I think we need to think about these things way in advance before you invite these people to the Olympics, because you gotta have a plan. Where's the venue? What are they going to do? Where are they going to swim? Where's the location? Right? And it seems like they really, really fell short of planning and definitely of execution, because we are like a month away from the Olympics, and they still don't even know if the water's safe to swim in. So I think it's going to be a good Olympics no matter what. I hope everything is safe. It's a crazy time right now in the world, so I always worry about the safety of tourists and the athletes. But just enjoy it. But I am curious to see what's going to happen with these long distance swimmers, and I am fearful if they do have to swim in the river. And just on a side note, I don't know what happened. I happened to watch a movie the other night on Netflix, because it's called Paris Underwater, was about sharks. I don't know why it came on. I don't know why I watched it. It's definitely not my type of movie, but there were sharks in the River Seine. And they actually, in this movie, had a really large swim event in the River Seine. And this was an argument in the movie that the water's contaminated, you shouldn't swim in it. The mayor there said she was going to swim in it, and she said it was fine, that she would be willing to swim in it, and it was safe. I don't think she did swim in it in the movie. But the fact is that she ended up saying it was fine and made the people swim in it, these competitors swim. I don't know if it was a triathlon or whatever it was, but they swam in it and they all got ate by sharks. Most of them got ate by sharks. It was awful. So that's totally unrelated, but just weird, and too many polluted water scenes from the River Seine these days. So I don't know. Grody. Moving on to other things that are coming up this week, we have on Thursday night on CNN, we have the very first presidential debate. It is hosted by Jake Tapper and Dana Bash. Some new rules kind of coming into play this first presidential debate. No audience. Mics will be cut, so therefore there won't be too much crosstalk, and not too much over speaking, so you can hear whomever speaking. They can hear what they say clearly. So it should be interesting. I don't know what to expect. Hopefully it will be enjoyable to watch. Hopefully we will hear positions, actions, plans. I hope it's not. Honestly, I hope it's not a shit show like some of the other ones were in the past, but it should be interesting to watch, and I'll watch it for you and give you the play-by-play when we're done. But speaking of CNN, did you also happen to see this interview on CNN this morning? Was it Cassie Hunt? And she was interviewing Donald Trump's spokeswoman, Caroline Leavitt. And she ended up abruptly cutting off the interview because she was asking questions. What is their plan, and what was kind of their strategy going into the debate on Thursday? And of course, she would not answer any clear questions, but all she could do was just, deflect and just spew negativity at the other side. And so she just, Cassie kept saying, can you just please answer the question? If you're not going to answer the question. And then she just started going right after CNN and Jake Tapper, who's actually moderating the presidential debate on Thursday. And she just kept going off on CNN and Jake Tapper. And Cassie Hunt just said, shut it down. And she said, look, if you're not going to answer the question and just attack my colleagues, this interview's over, pretty much is what she said, right? So, and, the Trump spokeswoman just kept going in. She wouldn't answer any question at all. So Cassie Hunt just cut the mic and shut her off. Now, I know this is getting a lot of backlash from the other side, but personally, I don't care what side you were on. I don't care if you're a Republican. I don't care if you're a Democrat. I don't care if you're independent. I don't care. I think this needs to happen more often, personally, because I am so sick of politicians getting on television And when they are asked a very clear question, what is your political position on this? What is your political plan? What is it that you want to get across to the people that you want to get their vote? And they cannot answer one question. This is your moment, politicians. You have a short window of time to be on television and to get a clear and concise message out to the people. Yes? And if you can't do it, and if you spend your entire few moments on television slamming the opponent, then what are you doing? You're not going to get my vote. Because if I don't know what you stand for, I am not going to vote for you. So get the message, politicians. Seriously, get the message. This is serious stuff. This is our country on the line. So get your plan together, get a serious story together, and answer the questions for the American people so we can vote. I don't want your BS. I don't want your platitudes. I don't want your pandering. I know there's going to be some level of pandering, yes. But give me something, not just screaming vitriol at the other side. Too much. This is our serious time. We only have a few months left. Get your stuff together on both sides. So not only will I be watching the debates and still catching up on the Olympics, that should be pretty good this week, but I will also be doing my reality TV and everything else. So let's catch up on some reality TV, shall we? We had House of Dragons this past week, part 2. It was good. Definitely building the story in this season, in this episode 2. Rhaenyra is being accused of the murder of Jaehaerys, the heir to the Iron Throne. So it's on. War's on. Game's on. So, like I said, this episode was a lot of story building. Oh, and then you had the whole twins, Eric, and then Eric, Eric ERRYK, and then Arik ARRYK, right? So Eric protects Rhaenyra, and his brother Arik, who still is with the Red Keep, they've split, right? They used to work together, both with Red Keep, but now Eric decided that his loyalties was going to lay with Rhaenyra. So the plan is that they're going to revenge Jaehaerys' death, and they're going to send Arik, the twin that still works for the Red Keep. They're going to send him in as an imposter to the twin brother Eric, who is protecting Rhaenyra at Dragonstone, right? So he gets in all the way into Rhaenyra's bedroom, her residence, her space. And thankfully, Eric comes in just in time and starts fighting. They're having an epic battle, and Eric ends up killing his brother, Arik, and in a split second turns the knife on himself and kills himself out of guilt for killing his brother. It happened fast, it happened quick, but that's kind of where it ended, and whoa. Right? Didn't see that one coming, but it is building. The tension is high in the air. So I think it's going to be a good season. So I'm excited to watch. I am. I really am. Typically not something I'd watch, but I'm enjoying it so far and I like it. Now it's time to enter the Bravo universe. Real Housewives of OC season 18 clip just dropped, right? Their trailer just dropped. And it looks like it's going to be an interesting season. Yeah. You have the typical cast coming back. You've got Shannon, you've got Heather, you've got Tamra, Gina, Emily, Jen, and now you have a new housewife, Katie Janela. But I heard she's good, and she is familiar with Sutton from the Real Housewives of OC. And not only is Sutton's making an appearance on OC, or a little cameo or pop-up or whatever you want to call it, and I believe Teddy Mellencamp is as well. But not only will they be on there, you also have the friends of. So Alexis is coming back. Alexis is now dating John Jansen, who used to date Shannon Beador. And they had a kind of a turbulent relationship. So it should be interesting to see where Alexis is, because Alexis is all over the place. Now, remember Alexis was on here seasons ago with her first husband, and they She was stand by your man. Everything I do is in the name of God, which is fine. But she was really doubling down on the religion, and her husband, he was kind of a grody guy, and thank God she got away from him. And then she made another weird appearance on Bravo a while back. And that was weird too, when she was just like kissy all over this other guy. It seemed a little desperate. But now she's back on OC dating Shannon's ex. So that should really set Shannon off. So poor Shannon, she's really going to be going through it. And plus she's got that whole DUI thing going on. The girl made a mistake. She did. She made a mistake, and she's really going to pay for it, because Tamara's going to go all in on Shannon for that, because of course Tamara does no wrong, and she's going to of course go after her friends. She's the hardest on people that have been friends to her. So Tamara, you can be quite heartless in that stuff, but always entertaining to watch. So I think it's going to be a good season. And like I said, and Vicki Gunvalson is coming back. Friend of. I don't know how Vicki feels about being a friend of, but everybody loves Vicki. Vicki is a hot mess. She's overly dramatic, and she's the OG of that show. And I just feel like you can't really have OC if you don't have a little bit of Vicki. You know what I mean? Vicki is OC. Yeah. Was it Jenna? What was the one that was a realtor? I missed her too. Gina. Was she the original Gina? I liked her. I wish she would do a cameo once in a while, but I think she's far removed from that. She's successful in her real estate. I think she's what she's doing. So good on her. But I liked her too. We also had this past week the Real Housewives of Dubai. I really do like Dubai. It gets a mixed feed, but I enjoy Dubai. I think it's a little over the top. I like it. Chanel goes crazy in her outfits. I like that too. But it was interesting to see the Carol Stanberry. She's been in her friend Michael's house for a long time, her and Sergio, and to see how she is just taking over that house is just a lot. And Michael, I'm with you. I would have thrown them a party a long time ago too, to get them out of the house. It must be such a joy to get them out of the house. You talk about how the animals are using the bathroom all over the house. You have no place to go. We all saw the bedroom. That's a disaster. I would be excited to get them out of the house too. But I got to tell you, there was something that bothered me a little bit in this episode. And it was how Sergio was treated by pretty much most of her family, Carolyn's family. And I like Carolyn Stanberry. I do. I think she's entertaining. I love her bitchiness. I love, she's just direct. She's as British as they come. And I enjoy her. I do. But she's a little mean to her husband, Sergio, sometimes. I mean, I think she's getting a little bit softer. But it's definitely when her daughter was making comments at that party about Sergio. I mean, it was really mean. And I do appreciate the fact that Carolyn kind of shut it down. She's like, that's not nice. Don't say that. So I appreciate that she was standing up for Sergio too, but she's kind of taken after her mom. But I do not like the daughter coming in and saying that stuff. Now, I know she's a teenager, and I know what things that come out of teenagers' mouth. Trust me, I do. But I didn't like it. I'm glad that Carolyn shut it down, but I didn't like it. I thought it was fun to kind of see the date set up for Sarah, how her friend Talene set Sarah up on that kind of group date. That was fun to watch. Did not go over very well. That guy definitely was not her type. I don't know why they set them up. I don't know what they saw to set them up on a date. I didn't ever see a spark there. Of course, he was interested. She is absolutely gorgeous. So, of course, he was interested. But, I mean, that was never going to work. That was never going to work. And it was so funny when he said, I don't see how dating somebody with kids is different than not having kids. Yeah, I mean, her strike system was spot on. Strike one, strike two. You can do with your astrological signs all you want. That's up to you. But everything else, she seemed to be pretty on. And, I like the conversation she had with her son the week before, because his son, when her son was talking about guys that she's dating, was it the week before? Or was this past week? But when she was talking about guys that Sarah has dated before, and they are bad, and how her son was definitely emotionally scarred from those experiences with her exes, and it was really hard on him. And when she was describing, look, my second husband wanted nothing to do with my son. He didn't even acknowledge him. And I mean, geez, Sarah, I'm not trying to judge, but you should have. Have you thought of that before you married the guy? I don't know who she married. I have no idea what this guy is or about this gentleman, who he is. I have no idea. But yeah, I don't, maybe a little more forethought in that. But no matter what, the poor child is scarred from it. And so I like the fact that she said to him, "Mommy chose wrong. It was my bad decision." So I like how she was owning it and recognizing her flaws. And I like that she was kind of stepping out of her box and trying to expand her dating pool. But I don't know. That guy was never going to work. But I hope she got a really nice dinner out of it. And she looked great. She's stunning. I like her little leather biker look. She looked great. I think we kind of need to keep an eye on Carolyn Brooks. You can tell she's going through some stuff, right? And the other girls are recognizing it, but they're not saying anything to her yet. I think they're delicately trying to work their way into that conversation, but I think you're going to have to jump into it. She's kind of going after people. She's going after Caroline. She's definitely pissed to her, but it seems a little over the top how upset she is, and there's a lot of things going on, and I think we might need to check in with her just to see how she's doing. I see there's a spiral happening, in my opinion, so I think we should all kind of see where that goes. I worry for her. She's got businesses, she's got kids, she has an interesting, slightly, to me, weird relationship with her ex, but hey, I'd have him build my business too. That place looks beautiful. But there's something going on with her right now. I don't know. She's going through emotional stuff, just overly stressed. But I hope somebody checks in with her soon, because I don't want to see her spiral. I like her. I think she's strong. I like to see she's a businesswoman. But that girl is pissed. So let's figure out what that's all about. Please, 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 please. But I feel like we need to move over to the Real Housewives of New Jersey. Now, I've talked about this before. New Jersey, you lost me there for a while. But now I'm into it. And I don't know what it is. I kind of dabbled back in a little bit, stuck my toes in the water a little bit last season. And like I said, I'm over the Melissa and Teresa thing. And I like that they're giving it no play this year. They really are not. Teresa is still trying with the whole Blue Label, and she said it was Louis that did it. I don't know. I think, in my opinion, this is a move for Teresa to kind of slip back in and be like, "Don't you remember when I gave you the Blue Label? It was an olive branch." And then she said to the producers in the interview that, "Oh, it was Louis. It was him. He filled out the card." I don't know. Something that doesn't seem right to me, but I think that was their way to try and open up the door so they can stir some stuff back in. But I like the fact that Joe and Melissa are kind of shutting it down. I'm starting to think that Teresa's tactics are getting a little played out. They're too predictable. It's kind of almost like a broken record kind of thing. And I think it's almost a desperate attempt to jump back on that hamster wheel of fighting. Like you're running out. Like people are turning against you. I think, right? Now you have Jen Aydin trying to, be better off with Melissa. And you also have Danielle. She invited Melissa to her fashion show. They've been invited to parties. So they're coming together, and your team is getting smaller and smaller, Teresa. And I think you're getting really desperate to hold on. So this week we had the Tulum party, right? That's how it ended up. It started off having the limoncello. It was a follow-up from the limoncello party. And then it ended with Teresa having her Tulum party. And I have to tell you, it was the whole end season with Danielle. Danielle she's a feisty one. She is feisty. And she is straight up Jersey. And she is straight up Jersey. And I like that about her. There is no deviating from her. She is who she is. And she gives it to you how she is, right? And when she went in on Jen Aydin, she was like, you're dirty. Well, first of all, let me rephrase that if I shall. Jen Aydin really went in on Danielle quite early. We said it early. Watch out, Danielle. Jen is coming for you. And Jen, I think you messed with the wrong one. She does not play. And I hope this whole situation that's happened doesn't get Danielle fired. I don't know. But let me break this one down. Okay, so here we are. We're at the Tulum party. Danielle and Jen were talking about this whole feud. Jen has put Danielle on blast all season about her actions, about her charity event, about what she's doing. Danielle can do no right in Jen's eyes this season. Jen has set this girl up, cheered her on, only to knock her straight down. And today they were going to go for it today, right? And so Jen Aydin went in, you need to do this, Danielle, and you told me you were going to do this, and you banked all this money for the charity event. And what she was saying is that, there were some charity events, that there was a charity event in the past, and there was a VIP area, and there were a few people that were like hairdressers and hairstylists and stuff like that were excluded from the VIP. And there were some other rumors or allegations going around about payments and things like that, about what happened along this charity event, who was getting paid, how much was made, and how much was really going to charity, right? So Jen Aydin was just drilling and just in a really nasty, deceitful kind of way. You don't do that to a friend. And she was doing it all for show. And like I said, she set her up the whole season to do this. So, I mean, you can just see the vein popping out on Danielle's forehead, the anger bubbling over on her, like her eyes. She was just so pissed. And all she did really was like, she got maybe a little closer, but she was like, you're dirty. She was pointing her finger. You're dirty. Everyone was right about you. They all were right. You are dirty. I can't believe I fell for your stuff because they were all right about you. I believed it. I didn't believe it. I believed you. And now look where we are. And I have to tell you, Jen pushed her hard right in the collarbone. Like, I actually had to pause and rewind it because you've been hearing about this fight for the whole season. Right before the season came out, they were talking about this fight. It was ending. They ended up canceling the reunion over this whole brawl that happened in the end of the season. Here we are. So, and I had heard that there was a pitcher thrown and like tray. I mean, there's so many different versions and stories that came out about this fight, But I gotta tell you, Jen Aydin pushed Danielle hard, and Danielle, girl, with cat-like reflexes. I'm telling you, it was so fast, I had to rewind it because it was like a blink of an eye. That girl smashed that cup on the side of her face so fast and just boom, was out. I mean, like her husband, Danielle's husband, came right in, grabbed her because he was like, oh, no. You could see him off in the distance watching because he could see it was bubbling. And he knows his wife's temper. We all know how our spouse's tempers are. And he could see it happen. And he ran over there so fast, pulled her right out because he was like, oh, I got to get her out because it's going to get ugly really fast. But I'm telling you, Danielle, holy smokes, you were fast. But Jen Aydin, you touched first. And she reacted. So, and of course, I loved it where everybody's like, did you hit her first? Did you touch her first? And I think Dolores saw it, but was unsure of what she saw. And she had even asked, did you put your hands on you first or something to that effect? And she's like, I don't even know. It happened so fast. And Jen, you always do that. You always, I don't know. And you did. It's on camera. But like I said, Danielle, my gosh, so fast. I mean, Danielle's got like action hero, quick like responses. I mean, geez. Danielle, impressed. But Jen Aydin, you have been the villain every season since you've been on, and enjoyable to watch. But you have been a villain and you do not learn. And I got to tell you, Bill is looking a little dead behind the eyes with your actions. And, he's pretty respected in the community, I would think, as a doctor, a surgeon. And he obviously runs a very successful practice. We all see your home. So he looks like he's getting a little tired of your stuff. So you might, for your family, for your marriage, for your quality of life, you might want to tone it back a little bit. But I don't think you can. Like I said, entertaining to watch, but you may have crossed the line, and you may want to be a little concerned over if you're going to be asked to return next season. Considering you're not having a reunion, that was canceled. So everybody's already pissed about that. I would think the cast would be pretty pissed about that, because not only are they losing money, that's extra time on television. So, that's, I don't know where we're going to go with the Jersey, but I got to say I'm excited to watch. But Louis, I'm sure next week the fallout should be interesting. We're going to pick up right after the fight and what's going to happen. But there's been other stuff coming out about Louis. And I'm just going to gloss over it really quickly. They're all allegations at this point, but Louis and his partner of his business, they're involved in some new scandal. But there are allegations of financial misconduct involving millions and millions of dollars. And it's owed to like vendors, companies, employees, and it's pretty widespread from what I understand. So I don't know a lot about it. Again, allegations. We shall see how that plays out. But I've been telling you, I've been very concerned about Teresa with Louis. Like I said, there's something about him that is very scamish, very con artist. I've talked about that. And Joe has even talked about that whole pizza oven issue. And he talked about it when he got the Blue Label the other week. I love this guy. I was excited for him to marry my sister. And once we decided to do this business thing, he totally screwed me over. And even after he screwed me over, I still was, I was okay with them getting married. I was still happy for my sister. I wanted her to find happiness after she had such a hard time with her ex and how terribly wrong that went when she went to jail and all that stuff. But, and I supported it. And then he screws me over. And then there's this. So it's not looking good. And I've talked about in some previous episodes that there was a clip in one of the trailers, or one of I think it was like some clip I've seen of like the season ahead, where you see Teresa walking out of the house freaking out, and Louis like following her. I want to talk. She's like, I don't want to talk to you. And it's about money. And you see like one of the producers, I think it was a producer or camera man, get involved, and like she doesn't want to or something like that. So something's going down. I feel bad for Teresa, because at the end of the day, she deserves a good guy, right? She just wants to be loved. And you can tell she loves her family. She loves her kids. And she loves being in that type of environment, in that space. It's comforting to her. She's very Italian in that way. And that's what everyone kind of does like about Teresa. But her picker's broken. It really is. Juicy Joe, yuck. Not a great guy. Not a good guy. Not even a decent guy. And then you have Louis, stuff's come out on him in the blogosphere, in the, you name it, in the tabloids. He does not have a good past, Teresa. And you totally ignored that, and you married him anyway. So, not only are you taking that baggage, you gotta be prepared for whatever sketchy shit's gonna come down the pike, because it's coming. He's got a sketchy past, and a zebra doesn't change its stripes, I guess is what I'm saying, I guess. But Teresa, we're worried about you. Even those people who aren't really big Teresa fans, we're worried about you, because nobody wants to see you lose your money again, or you to be caught up in another court scandal again. You deserve better. And so do your kids. Your kids have already been through that once, and they seem to be pretty good kids considering everything that they've had to endure. But now that they're older, that's why Gia's in law. All that stuff that happened with her dad and she had to watch both parents go to jail. Now she might have to potentially, who knows, allegedly, if anything criminal could come out of these allegations, you don't want a repeat situation. Not for you, Teresa, not for your kids. So it's unfortunate. But speaking of criminal cases, and this past weekend, it was unbearable to go outside. It was just disgusting. As soon as you walked out the door, the humidity was just soup-like air quality, and there was no breeze. It was just stagnant, gross heat. Ugh. And like I said, only June. August isn't even here yet. But so I was inside, and I have to tell you, on criminal shows, Apple has released a few good ones. So first you have Defending Jacob. Chris Evans, former Captain America, was in this. Another New England, Boston setting. He's a Boston boy, so another Boston movie. And I have to say it was interesting. A little slow, but interesting to watch. For those who have not seen the end, I don't want to ruin it. I was a little bummed at the end, but not the worst I've seen, but a little bummed. I thought it could have gone somewhere else. But an interesting thriller, a lot to think about. All I could think about is the teenage son, right? So Chris Evans is an attorney. I think he's an assistant DA, and his 14-year-old son is accused of murdering a classmate in his 8th grade class. And it went on trial. It totally tore apart their family, and it was a turbulent show to watch, really emotionally, I would say. And as a parent of a teen, all I could think about was the stupid stuff the teenager was doing online. These kids think that they can do and say and write anything they want to online, and it doesn't matter, and there's no consequences. And this young kid in this show kept doing that and posting stupid stuff and just getting himself more in trouble. And he was like, and he kept saying when the parents would call him out, you can't do this. He'd be like, nobody's paying attention. It doesn't really matter. And if anybody has a teen, I'm sure they've heard those words come out of their teenager's mouth. And you, as a parent, you keep trying to tell them it does. This stuff doesn't go away. Once you post it, even if you delete it, it does not go away. It's always, you will always be able to find it, and you just can't clear the cloud like that. It just doesn't work that way. And there are consequences to these actions online. And these kids don't have the forethought to think about that. And it just kept happening. And for me, that was kind of hard. And also the crime and stuff like that. It was all difficult, but that was an interesting watch. But I have to tell you, I am hooked. I am hooked on the new Apple show, Presumed Innocent, with Jake Gyllenhaal. First of all, it's a great cast, fantastic cast, and it is so good. It is really good. First of all, it's with David E. Kelly and J.J. Abrams. So you are going to get a great show with those two backing it up. Absolutely. Jake Gyllenhaal is a chief deputy prosecutor, right? And a coworker of his, a female, ends up murdered, right? And it is, I think I can talk about this because it's based on a 1987 novel. And there was a movie that came out was it in the early 90s? I think it was 1990 with Harrison Ford. So the story in the book, in the movie has been out there, and book's great. Movie's great. It's been a really long time since I've seen the movie. I might have to actually go back and watch it since I'm so into the show, actually. But Jake Gyllenhaal is fantastic. So his attorney coworker, she ends up murdered. And through in the investigation, they found out that Jake Gyllenhaal is having an affair with her. And he puts this, that he's happily married and all that. So it's been great. So now he's under suspicion and they're trying to collect evidence against him. And now he is ready, now the crimes are coming his way. And it's just so suspenseful and so good. And it's an 8-part miniseries. So enjoy it while you can. So far, there's only been 3 episodes that have been released, and I have not been disappointed. I have enjoyed every moment of it. So I will be watching it for you. And like I said, I think I'm going to have to go back and watch the movie again. It's been so long ago, and Harrison Ford's always good and everything. So I think I'm going to have to go back and watch that. So really, really enjoying that series. Hope I'm not disappointed at the end. But I had to say, Apple, I was getting a little frazzled with you because I really haven't been too into the shows lately. And you did get me on that one. I really am pleased with this one so far. So you pulled me back in, Apple. Well done. Well done. So speaking of interesting love stories, let's jump to Ben Affleck and J-Lo. How can you not like J-Lo and how can you like Ben, right? But it looks like they are definitely headed towards, divorce, unfortunately. Unless there's some time apart and they want to try and work through, but it doesn't look like it. The house is on the house that they looked so long for that they finally found. I think they said, I was listening to TMZ the other week or something like that. I think they said they were looking for almost 2 years for this house. Finally found it, did a ton of renovation on it, and boom, now it's out on the market. It's already been listed on the market, and it looks like she's looking for another place, not for them as a couple, but it looks like it's going to be a solo place for just her and her kids. And, it's sad to see it. It's unfortunate. You always want to hear those stories that love lost a long time ago reunites and come together to find the perfect love. You always hear those stories. But, it seems like and Ben Affleck just came out in an interview the other day talking about how fame with J-Lo was what split them up years ago when they dated in the early 2000s. And she is such more advanced in her career. And she is so much on a high celebrity status than she was 20 years ago. So if that was a problem then, Ben, I don't know how you didn't think that it wouldn't be that much more intense this time around, right? And she's everything. But it is nice to see her, like, he's having a hard time, right? You just saw videos of him, clashing with paparazzi outside of his place, right? He looks like he's going through it. And J-Lo is just out there. She's being caught in Italy. She is getting away and trying to clear her head. It's sad to see it happen, but love can be blind and love can be complicated. And you got to give it to J-Lo. She tries. She's been through quite a few marriages already. J-Lo, maybe you shouldn't get rushed so quickly into the next one. You've been married a few times, and look, I feel like you're on the Elizabeth Taylor trajectory, right? Of marriages, right? But we love you. You're beautiful, like Elizabeth Taylor. I don't know, J-Lo, just move it a little bit slower in love. You deserve love. You enjoyed to be loved. You monkey bar from one relationship to the next. Maybe you just need to find like a good business guy, somebody that's out of the limelight. Maybe you need a banker, or I don't know. You need a good businessman, tech guy, engineer, computer guy, something that doesn't mind being in the shadows, that just wants to prop you up and let you be you. there's nothing, I don't know. You need somebody that's willing to take everything that's a part of you. You are a jet-setting triple threat in the entertainment industry. You are a singer, an actress, a dancer. I've seen her in concert, an incredible performer. No doubt about that. That girl can move, and she looks just as good up close live as she does on any TV and television screen. Absolutely. So, yeah, I hope the best for them. But Ben looks sad. Poor Batman. Poor Batman is having problems. And strike two on the gens. Gen 1, Gen 2. Yeah, Ben, I'm sorry. Better luck next time, Ben. But Ben, I think you need to focus on yourself for a bit. I'm glad you still have Jen Gardner, your first wife, the mother of your children, that seems to be a really incredible support system for you. She's moved on. She doesn't have to live with your BS anymore. And it sounded like she really went through it when you guys were in a couple. And the fact that you said that stuff about her on a public forum, I don't find that too nice. But she has helped you, supported you, and she's always going to be some way connected to you in her life because she is the mother of your children. So always be good to her. Please, 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 please. Well, that's it, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for Polywine today. I hope you had fun, and we'll be ready to see you next time. So please join us on Instagram on Polywine Time. If you have any thoughts, ideas, topics you want to discuss, I'm here to talk it out with you. Thanks again for joining us. Have a great day. Bye.